In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Joel from Circle Up Stories to find out what exactly Build Piggy Build is. Then we'll see what's on Kickstarter, but first a message about our sponsors. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Toresh Games, who are bringing Serpent Master back to Kickstarter the first of next month. Serpent Master is a card-driven abstract board game for 1 to 4 players where a player must keep their serpent on top to win. Plus, they're doing a giveaway with us, or a few of them in fact, over there at thegiveawaygeek.com. Enter today and back their Kickstarter on the 1st of August.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
The big bad wolf wants nothing more than to blow houses down and eat piggies up. But try as he might, he can't blow down houses made of brick. Be the first to build a sturdy house and win the game.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of Build Piggy Build, and today we're lucky enough to have on the creator and mastermind from this game. Is that right, Joel? Is that how you fit in line with Build Piggy Build?
Yeah, you can call me the mastermind. That's a title I'll take gladly.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it, Joel.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Now, before we jump into your game, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games?
Well, I mean, it started out the way it starts out with most people. You play the games that your family plays. So I actually started playing Rummy and Scrabble. Those were the games that we played a lot as a kid. From there, it was moved to chess, and it was a really slow evolution to games that were a little bit more complicated than that. So, jumping into Carcassonne, and from there it was just, expanded.
Awesome. And what are you playing these days?
A little bit of Descent. I don't know if you've ever played that game. It's sort of like a time-bound D&D, not as complicated, not as free-form, but you have these, these scenarios that you just play through, sometimes multi-part. And yeah, I've been playing that.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to say it's on our shelf, but yeah, unfortunately, we don't get very much time to play games, so it gets kind of busy around here. But yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's also when you need someone to play with, and sometimes that's hard to coordinate. So.
Yeah, most definitely. Awesome. But word on the street is you have a new game on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about Build Piggy Build, Joel?
Yeah, so Build Piggy Build is it's a family weight game with pretty simple dynamics. There's a die to roll. You're going to draw cards depending on the outcome of that roll, and then you're basically just going to manage your hand. And the object is to try to create a house of the 4 parts of a house, all of the same color, before the other players do. The idea being, there's a big bad wolf. The big bad wolf, is going to blow down those houses made of sticks and hay. So everyone's just building as fast as they can to make a nice sturdy house. So.
Awesome. So per se, me and you sat down to play Build Piggy Build. What's my turn going to look like or consist of, Joel?
So you'll have 5 cards in your hand. You might have fewer, but you'll have no more than 5 cards in your hand. What you'll do is you'll take the die, and it's a custom die, 6-sided. On 4 of the sides, there is a single trowel. On one side, there is a double trowel, and on one side, there's a wolf. Depending on what your roll is, if it's 1 trowel, you'll draw 1 card. 2 trowels, you'll draw 2 cards, and if it's the wolf, you're going to discard any one card from your hand. And in that way, you're either pulling from a face-up discard pile or a face-down draw pile.
Okay, and how do I know if I won? The first one with the sturdy house wins, or?
Yeah, it's the first one. So there are different colors. There's a purple house, a blue house, a red house, a green house, a yellow house. And the cards, they're going to be the four parts of a house. So there's a roof card, and it's going to be different for each colored house. There's a window card. There's a card that's sort of representative of just a wall. It's going to be mostly brick. And then there's a door card. And so it's all of those cards plus you need a piggy card, and that's going to constitute a winning hand.
Can I mix and match the house, or it's all going to be the same color?
All got to be the same color. And that presents a bit of a problem because one of my kids, for whom I developed the game, is colorblind. So he has a really hard time with the green and the yellows and the oranges. There's no orange in the game, but that's just his colorblind problem. To mitigate this, we actually use these kind of suit designations. So in the corners of each one of the cards, for the greenhouse example, you're going to have a leaf shape, and for some of the other colors, there will be different shapes. So we tried to think through that and make that something that even people who were colorblind would be able to play.
That's good that you did that because I'm not necessarily colorblind, but when I play Splendor, I don't know if it's our lighting or whatnot, but I have a really trouble with I think it's blue and green because their gems look really similar to me as well. So that's good that you're able to distinguish between the two different colors for them.
Yep. It was funny because I'd forgotten about it actually. He's my 3-year-old, but I had completely forgotten that he was colorblind. And so when I sat down, I said, "Oh yeah, you're having trouble, aren't you?" And it's not for 3 years old. I mean, that's a little young on the young side, but you do play testing, you play test everything. So
Speaking of that, during play testing, besides that, was there anything you had to scrap or get rid of because it just wouldn't work for the game?
a couple things. The original age limit that we had on there was 4 plus. 4 actually seemed a little bit young. There were some 4-year-olds who could play it, but 5-year-old was a much more conservative. Two other things. We did have wild cards at one point, so there were cards that could serve as any color. So if you think like Uno, it's like that wild card. That didn't really work. It didn't work with the dynamics of the game. The other thing that we had was the wolf. There's a special card, a wolf card, and that is you can play at any time to force an opponent to discard a card from their hand. Originally, that was the person who plays the card gets to select the card that gets discarded, and that was just too mean. It wasn't fun, and the idea was we needed these games, or we wanted these games that we could play as a family, which means don't get the kids super upset if you don't have to. And so, you still want to challenge the kids, but and you also want a clear winner and a clear loser, but you don't want to make it such an exasperating process that they never want to play again. So,
Yeah, well, I remember back when our kids were younger, we had a lot of rage quitting and it was just for Uno because we hadn't got into what tabletop gaming is today.
yep. No, for sure. I mean, I've got one kid who, the younger one, the 3-year-old, loves Candyland. All right, Candyland is it's just a race, right? Well, he's fast. He likes to race. That's the kind of thing that he likes to do. It's hard to get rage quitting there, but I'm playing Stratego with the 5-year-old, and the 5-year-old is just like wants to kill me. He can't stand it when I take his pieces, and it's like, well, you showed me it was a two. I know it's a two. I'm gonna take it. So we wanted to avoid. Yeah.
Well, that's good that you're able to avoid that. Yeah, it looks like a pretty fun game from looking at it. And for your Kickstarter or whatnot, I don't see any the third party previews. Did you guys do any of those? If you don't mind my asking.
No, we didn't. We had thought about it, didn't get some responses back. Recognized that it takes time to get those previews scheduled, slotted, fit in. A lot of people need months in advance, and that's okay. We sort of just wanted to get this out. The idea was we wanted it out before Christmas, before like early December. So
Okay, awesome. But it doesn't look like that dinged you much because it looks like the campaign's doing not too shabby. You're what at the time of this recording, 200 well no $2,000 away from your goal, and you still got 15 days to go.
look, doing a Kickstarter, it's a bit of a learning process. It's my first Kickstarter, and it is exhausting. I don't know if for all those of you who have done a Kickstarter, it's one of the most exhausting things I've done, and I've worked 12-hour days in a globally distributed software company trying to get stuff done, and this is harder. So, yeah, it's exhausting.
Oh boy, so what? I'm just somebody who interested in running a Kickstarter or whatnot. What are some of the hard things that you've seen during the Kickstarter thus far?
Uh, so I would say the hardest thing is y- don't get an inflated sense of yourself. Like you might have a great idea, but that doesn't mean it's going to be, you're going to get funded in the first hour. It takes a lot of work to get to those points, and respect to those who can get funded within the first day. The other thing is you got to plan. If you are not, if you've only planned for like 14 days of marketing materials and marketing engagement, you're going to get 14 days of funding, and that's tough because you know people don't want to think that it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of work, and it's it takes that effort to get those results.
Yeah, most definitely. It looks like you are getting results. Like I said, speaking of marketing, do you mind sharing a couple of the things you've done over the last little bit? Some of the marketing things you've done.
Yeah, sure. We've done some Facebook stuff. And Facebook is, rather than and what I would say is you need to have content that is specific for the medium that you're using, right? So not everything gets blasted to every single channel that you have. If you have something for Facebook, it's not appropriate for LinkedIn if you're going to do anything on LinkedIn. So making sure that that content is fit for purpose is really important. So what we did was, selectively we had a couple of videos. Early on, we had like a 45-second video, just a video from the Kickstarter. But Facebook's really helpful in terms of like the stats. And you saw a lot of people just tuning out after 10 seconds. And so what does that tell you? Hey, you got to do a shorter video, and you have to get better results there. So we shortened the video to 15 seconds. Well, it's actually 10 seconds plus a little just tail end stuff. And shortening it to 10 seconds, you get better watch through rates, and you get better click through rates. So definitely pivot when you need to, but make sure that you've planned and have all the content that you need. Um, yep.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, even though you haven't funded in the first 24 to 48 hours, it still looks like you're doing pretty good on there. So that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of leaning on your network, leveraging the people that you know, and then making good on the commitments that you've had in the past. Like if people have said, "Hey, we're gonna back you," give them a reason to back you. Say, "Hey, look, this is happening," and once you get past a certain point, then you sort of get a little bit more organic traction, which is also something that is it's nice because you don't have to work so hard toward the tail end if you've got a little bit of traction.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, when it comes to build, piggy build, what makes your game pop out as one my audience should go check out? And if they like what they see, back it on Kickstarter today, Joel.
It's accessible. It's accessible for those families who want to get away from Candyland, because I definitely desperately want to get away from Candyland. It's also something that it plays really fast. The hands don't take a lot of time. I've had people. So we ran a little bit of social media stuff on Instagram, and we handed the game over to an influencer, and they started playing it, and the kid hasn't put it down. But that's in large part because that child won the very first time without having played the game before, without having really known the rules. It takes very little time to learn, very little time to play, but it can be replayed because there are also some wrinkles in the game, which we haven't talked about or touched on a little bit, but with some of the special cards. Um, it'll test your memory. For example, there's one card that's root. It's a piggy nose card and allows you to root through the discard pile, the face up discard pile, to get a card to put into your hand. But that requires that you have remembered the cards that have been played so far, because once you play it, you can't take it back. You're forced to use it. So it's not just for kids, it's not just for adults, but it's really quick, plays really fast, quick to learn, and plays really fast.
Awesome. And you speak of an Instagram influencer. Was that somebody in board game media or?
Nope, outside. It was somebody. So I do some copy editing on the side for some paper products, like this art stuff. They do these like cards that they're nice. They look good, better than I could ever do. But they had something that there was a little bit of a tie-in, and so we created a sort of giveaway and did a tie-in there.
Awesome. So yeah, did that have much pull for you? Do you think?
I think it was really good exposure. I think the timing was okay. We actually did it, I think, the wrong day. But yeah, I think it was really positive in the sense that you get eyes on that you wouldn't normally have eyes on. Because the whole other thing is, what I have found is there are a lot of people who don't know how Kickstarter actually works. There's this community who know how Kickstarter works, but then there's this whole other community which actually represents a market, and in my case, represents the primary game market, or the market for whom this game is designed, which is those families. They don't actually know how Kickstarter works. So I did get the visibility of the game, which is what I had wanted, even if I didn't get the pledges, because in the back end I'll just um, I can re-engage with those people in terms of distributing it in another way.
Yeah, yeah. I always think of that. The visibility is important. Like what I remember as a kid, always going to going driving back east to Nebraska, and on the way we'd always see all these billboards. Like every mile, they'd have a billboard. It was getting you ready for ice cream cones at Little America Hotel.
It worked, right?
Yes, for sure. So that's awesome that you're able to do that.
Salivating in the back seat.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it looks like a pretty good game. I know we backed it, and it looks really fun. So, they don't overpromise and underdeliver. When somebody goes ahead and backs it, when would they anticipate getting their game so they can try to build that best house?
We'll try to get it out before December or by December. We've already produced a limited run, so we have the production house in line and ready to go. So it's really just a matter of, okay, what's the order going to be, and getting it shipped out. So yeah, we hope to have it out by Christmas, like I said.
Awesome. Yeah. So anybody listening, make sure you go ahead and jump on over in our show notes, click on the link and check out Build Piggy Build. It looks really fun, especially for families. It looks like a pretty fun game, and it's a quick game. And like you said, it'll get you away from Candyland if you're stuck in that time warp or whatnot.
Yeah, look, Candyland. The good part about Candyland is I don't have to pay attention while I'm playing it, so I can play Stratego with the one kid and at the same time play Candyland, which I have done twice this week. So
Oh, there you go. That's how you do it. Is it with when it comes to Build Piggy Build? Is that one where you'll be able to play the two games or not?
nope, got to pay attention because I can't stand losing at my own game to my own kids.
Oh boy, how do you fare against them?
Look, I take my lumps.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Now, minus coming to your hometown to stalk you, how can people go about keeping up with you and other things you're doing over there at Circle Up Stories?
Well, obviously Facebook is good. We do have a couple of other projects that we're working on. We do have a book that we published a couple of years ago, but there's some renewed interest in that. We're doing some readings. But Facebook is a good place. Also, circleupstories.com. That's our website. And those will be your best places to go.
Awesome. So you talked about a book. What kind of book is it? A children's book or what is it exactly?
Yeah, it's an illustrated children's book. It's about, well, it's called Snow Pirates. So basically, it's about this young girl comes to town, but the town and all the kids in the town are all part of a gang called the Snow Pirates, and they all wear a proper paper pirate hat, and so that's a folded triangle hat. Well, this girl who comes to town, she doesn't necessarily want to wear the proper paper pirate hat. She wants to make other hats, and so it's a story about how she fits in with that group and maybe changes some minds along the way.
Oh, that sounds pretty fun. Is that something people can get somewhere?
Yep, it's on Amazon. Available now.
Okay, cool, awesome. And speaking of keeping up with you, I know right now we're focused on getting Build Piggy Build taken care of, but somebody's listening to this episode later on down the road after you fulfill the Kickstarter and everything. Is there any secrets in your back pocket you can share with us and what you might be working on later on?
Well, there's always something in the back pocket, right? I do have this one game that's super complicated. Not really ready to talk about it all that much right now, but I'm play testing that in 2 weeks' time because when you have adult male friends who are all married, you need 2 weeks to schedule something. So we've got that scheduled for 2 weeks from now.
Well, there you go. Awesome. But anybody listening, make sure you go ahead and jump on over and check out Build Piggy Build. That'll be on Kickstarter through the 4th of September. And we really appreciate you coming on, getting geeky with Game Relief with us to talk all about Build Piggy Build, Joel.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
No problem. Now I'm even more excited to play Build Piggy Build. If you feel the same way, let's help them cross the threshold to get funded. At the time of this recording, they're so very close. But either way, make sure you go ahead and run on over to their Kickstarter and back it so you can help make this project a reality. Now let's go with Battering Leaf, shall we? Where are we going, Batterina?
Kickstarter Corner!
Did you catch our Gridopolis episode? If not, pause it right now and go back and give it a listen. We'll wait for you. What'd you think? Yeah, me too. I loved it. Just a bit about it. Gridopolis is the winner of 4 Game Design Awards and 2 educational honors. Gridopolis is the world's first multiplayer 3D strategy game and system. Gridopolis is fun and easy to learn, featuring rules from classic games you already know, except now we're in 3D. The game is dynamic. All players get extra parts, letting you build during the game. Yes, the 3D board game is always changing. The system is modular. 7 simple parts, infinite creativity. Use one of our designs or create your own. Gridopolis takes Space Age play to the table. It's a 3D game that feels like something people should have been playing for centuries, says Jeff Pavone from Blog Critics. Jump on over to the link in our show notes and back Gridopolis today. If you do it through our link, we get a kickback. We thank you very much. The king has gone mad. Well, madder. He's throwing people into the dungeon left and right to try to uncover the conspiracy to unseat him that surely exists. As his favored crew of dungeon keepers, torturers, and psychopaths, your job is to turn the screws on these unfortunate yokels and get them to confess. The best torturer will be awarded the title of head warden, and the rest, well, best not to think about it. Did that sound familiar to you? Well, good thing I'm here then. It's a story of Talk, You Fiend. Talk, You Fiend is an easy-to-learn, blind action game for 3 to 6 people, with an average playtime of 30 to 45 minutes. Apply a bit of pressure, or a lot, we won't judge ya, and outsmart your fellow jailers to score prisoners, and leave your opponents with the stinging shame of failure. Collect sets of prisoners to score points, avoid shame and demotion, and gift your friends with the worst known liars in the kingdom. Talk, You Fiend is a torturously fun time for ages 10 and up. A few important points the guys over at Stone Bones Games wanted me to bring up to you for sure is that Talk, You Fiend is a game that is easy to set up and start playing. Rules are simple to explain. That sounds like my kind of game. You know how much I detest learning new games, or have a hard time with it at least. So that sounds pretty cool. And then next they said, it's a great way to start off or wind down a game night. Somewhat light game, but with a little bit of strategy involved, if you take the time to really think about it. Oh boy, this is what we need. Another game my wife can beat me at. But I like to play games, so this really looks like a great game for us. Last but not least, what the great designers over there at Stone Bones Games had to say was its whimsical setting and art. You are playing as a dungeon keeper and just trying to do your job. The best to get that promotion. So, what do you think? You're not sure? You don't want to make a decision yet? Well, don't fret. Next week on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, we're going to have the designer and publisher on our show to talk all about Talk, You Fiend and why you should add it to your collection. So make sure you subscribe to Getting Geeky with Game Relief so you never miss an episode. Make sure to head on over to their Kickstarter page in our show notes so you can become the best torturer in your game group. with Talk You Fiend. Back it on Kickstarter today, and make sure you catch my interview with the creators. We'll see if they can make me talk. Begin your journey as one of the 5 basic classes and battle your way through a branching campaign where you choose your own path in an attempt to overthrow the evil queen, Domine. With each encounter, you will level up and unlock over 15 elite classes, adding new actions, equipment, and abilities. Will your team find the right combination of classes and powers in time to stop Queen Domine? Let the adventure begin. Sound familiar to you? Well, good thing I'm here. This is Adventure Tactics Domine's Tower. It's an encounter-based, campaign-driven, cooperative deck builder. You know, Gamer Leaf loves deck builders. That launched to Kickstarter on the 29th of July, as well as blew past their almost $30,000 funding goal on the same day. This isn't your everyday board game that looks like an RPG, as you don't have to stay stuck in the same class over and over again, but you still get the benefits of the previous class. But I'll let the game's designer tell you more about that. Make sure you catch my sit down with Nick, the designer. Sure to hit your favorite podcasting app on Thursday, the 1st of August. So make sure you subscribe to Getting Geeky with Game Relief, where you catch your favorite podcasts. And as this is after the 1st of August, make sure you come back so you don't miss out on the adventure. Back Adventure Tactics today. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geekfold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.